Aging Voices is a poignant and a very powerful exhibition that unites the past and present in a haunting reflection on South Africa's tumultuous history. And this collaboration honors the memories of those who fell victim to the brutal massacres in the Vaal region. Through the lens of legendary photographer Len Khumalo, historical newspaper headlines and a stirring video performance, Aging Voices gives voice to the unsettled spirits of the past. And to tell us more about this exhibition, we're joined by Nkululeko Khumalo, curator and lecturer, and Tsoana Nhlapo, who is an artist and curator. Ladies, a very good morning. Thanks for joining us. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
I'm going to start with you, Mdunga. How do you think the exhibition contributes to our understanding of South Africa's history and past?
I think our history in particular is extremely distorted. And we look at the Vaal region, and the Vaal being one of the biggest spaces that has the biggest massacre in the entire country. Yeah. But yet, our history is extremely neglected, because we've had the bus strikes in Everton, Azikwelwa. We've had the Nangalembe massacres in Zone 7. We've had the 1960 Sharpville massacre, which again, we were told that there were 69 killed, but with the research that Tsoana and Niko are doing, we are sitting now currently at 95 people killed with police records. And then we've got the Boipatong massacre. We've got the Zone 7, not just the Nangalembe, the Zone 7 where people were killed in a shebeen. So there's a lot of massacres that are still not recorded within the history of the Vaal. So bringing this exhibition, we're saying, us as Vaal people, let us take our own stories. Let us not wait for government, you know. Yeah. We know our histories. Our grandparents are dying with this history. How do we bring this history in an academic space? How do we bring this history in the different spaces in the township, saying, let us not have youth that is ignorant, you know? So we are trying to be the voice for the voiceless. Right. But at the same time, we're saying, okay, how do we commemorate the deceased? How do we commemorate our own history and our own narrative in these spaces? As you know, the photographic pictures is Gababulen, but we're also having the beautiful history of what Tsoana is doing, saying after she did the spiritual rituals, and somehow this information started coming out. But as well as the Vaal University, we are a university based in the Vaal, which is very black dominating, you know. How do we make our kids who are in terms of the blackness of the black body take an interest in the history that we offer as well? Yeah.
That is so profound. And I want to engage you as well, Tsoana, in terms of the, you know, the spirituality element of the commemoration. To what extent does the spirituality find expression in just commemorating all those who lost their lives to those massacres?
You know, it's funny that we're only realizing now that we have to lead with spirituality because people died. And so it's their spirits that we're dealing with because they died prematurely, right? They didn't expect to die, but babulewe nonetheless. And so I got as a young, right? And when that happened, I started to look, because before then I used to commemorate through dialogues. You know, we've been doing the commemoration for years now. But after I got initiated, then I started to look at it differently, and hence the spirit started, you know, taking center stage. And it was because of what Baba Credo Mutwa did. I don't know if this is public knowledge, but he lost a fiancée in the massacre.
Oh, really?
Yes, and he did what is called a blood ritual, to say it doesn't matter how long this takes, the real truth of this is going to come out, because he knew that the white people were going to cover it up. And so our grandparents kept saying, no, but this 69 is not right. A lot more people died, but if you can't take your grandmother's word, right? And so when we started to engage and commemorate spiritually, guess what? We found the records that says actually it was 95 people that died on the spot.
Wow.
The youngest victim was 5 years old. There was about 14 women who died, and about 5 or 6 died with their pregnancies, right? Sure. Yes, and it took, because they were not refrigerated, so they were decaying. And it took about 5-6 years to find this woman and her unborn child, and the many others. So all of these, Sharpville, because of that oath that Baba Mutwa did, is the only massacre that has physical records that we didn't have access to. It took the professors from America to come and gain access to it, and then you know for sure because they've written their names down. Now we know that the 69 is it's not just a number, but the people itself.
You know, just speaking of spirituality, I mean, we're all Africans, and we know that when it comes to death, and especially death in this particular manner, then the spirit of the loved ones need to be collected from the scene of death back home, or as well. So do you feel that some families did not go through that particular process?
All of the families. All of the families, because these people came in closed coffins.
Yeah. Because I'm trying to understand the element of spirituality,
so
of
they
the
had
spiritual commemoration. Like, how does it find expression in the entire process?
Each and every family has got their own rituals. There's certain rituals that need to be done before I get with a back exit. So there's all these things that we need to observe so that this thing does not recur. And one of the things that drove me is that blood has never stopped shedding in Sharpville. There's gunshots every week. Our children are dying is because of those things that were not done spiritually to curb this thing from returning. And so if you go there and they say, no, this is your wife, stand here. You haven't identified the body. You don't even know because the coffins are so identical. They came at the back of a truck. How do we know that the name that is there is the one that reflects underneath there? So there's a lot of spiritual unfinished business.
Right.
Around the Sharpville massacre and all these other massacres, and we're expected to move on, and that's why we keep stepping in the same place because we haven't addressed the past properly as African people.
Yeah. Now, Nkululeko, I want us to go back to that research that you just mentioned earlier on with regards to the revision of the fatalities of those who died. You're saying we're now sitting at 95 people who died at that massacre.
Yes.
So do you feel that there is now a distortion of the massacres there, or South Africa's history, or is there an omission of some sort of the key elements?
I think it's both, because a lot of history, I mean, a lot of research didn't capture. Academics went in, went out, took stories and wrote about the Sharpville. But only now we managed to get to 95, that only Kontema Tsoana got to. But always while looking at the body of archives that Ubabu Len has also captured, it's almost like some of these massacres that were never spoken about. It was just a headline and then it disappears and we move on, you know. But we forget that this distortion of this information is not accurate. So how, for so many years, people coming in and coming out of these spaces miss the number, the number of people who were killed, the number of people that were injured. So the exhibition speaks about that. You know, it speaks about, I mean, one of the people who came during the opening was from the Colebrook's mine. And she was narrating the story that the people who were killed at the Colebrook's mine, they were living in Sharpville a day or two before the massacre. And that history is still not in our spaces. So there's a lot of things that were swept under the carpet because of people not wanting to deal with the reality of the oppression of black people during the struggle.
And I certainly hope that will be the basis of the conversations that will be had after viewing this particular exhibition, because this exhibition means so many different people to different things to so many different people. Some is just a recollection and you know, it's just thinking about the loved ones who died in that particular massacre, and some is just a reflection of South Africa's past. And as we've just said, it has been the figures have now been revised. But thank you so much, ladies, for joining us. Please share more details, just briefly.
The exhibition opened on the 24th of August. It's still running till the 7th of September. We have a panel and a walkabout on the 7th of September at the Vaal University of Technology. We've got a beautiful gallery in the visual arts department there.
Great stuff.
Thank you so
Ladies,
much.
lovely chatting to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Great stuff. That was Nkululeko Khumalo, an art curator, and Tsoana Nhlapo talking to us about the exhibition that unveils and sort of reveals the overlooked narrative of the Vaal Triangle, focusing on the Sharpville and Boipatong.